So to get on topic for today, we're just going to run through some of the tools which you have listed on our tool marketplace. And what's really good over the last kind of year or so, the actual tools that have been made available for, I'd say, non-technical people, but people who want to build without having to code, they've kind of grown quite considerably, but also the functionality and power of the tools that are available have grown considerably also. Whereas we started off with drag and drop website builders, and obviously WordPress, and then Squarespace, and then Webflow. But yeah, now we've got a lot of different products for slightly different use cases as well. So if everybody's ready, we've got 35 people in the chat now. We'll just kind of start going through some of them. So is anybody familiar with any of these to start with? Maybe not applicable to Makerpad members. If you've been a member for a while, you probably know quite a lot of these apps, but is there any people who are seeing these for the first time or are familiar with any of these? Matt, don't worry about the live stream. This is going to be available for replay for members. So this link will be popped in Slack for you afterwards. Okay, Miguel, not really. Yes, yes, most of them. From Zapier, Notion, Slack, Airtable, lots of new ones. Yep, some. Scrolling down, we've got quite a few on here as well. Just getting to Bubble. Great, Josh. Yeah, Bubble's one of the most powerful ones for sure. Not familiar, pretty much a new, most of them. Okay, cool. If you're looking at this as well, ones with the blue check are actually Makerpad customers and verified, so we actually have ongoing relationships with them. And then these ones down here are also awesome tools, but we just don't have them verified by us yet. Starting with Bubble, through Gumroad, Slack, Bubble, Webflow, awesome, most of them. Okay, cool. So let's just run through. Maybe let's start with websites. So websites is probably one of the first things that people do when they're building something. Sorry, quick question. Do one of the verified check wants me to make discounts on working with these tools? Potentially not all of them, but a lot of them do add in discounts to Makerpad customers and also work with them on producing unique tutorials, etc. But yeah, we'll be rolling out more unique stuff within Spotlight. So also one of the benefits is we are going to start running live webinars with the tool itself, just to actually showcase the core functionality and some more of the actual advanced stuff as well. So just to run through a couple. So we have Card. Card is probably the quickest way to build a website. I'm not going to dive into these tools too much, but Card is like a one-page website builder with really simple components, really easy to use. So if you're pretty building a website for the first time, you can build one pretty much in 5 minutes with Card. The one-page sites, you have a bunch of templates, really easy to build. If you ever built with something like Squarespace or anything, this is much easier. So they've done a great job with Card, and you can get something up really quick. Sheet to site. This is also a very simple way of building a website. If you are familiar with using a Google Sheet, for instance, you can build a website by just having a Google Sheet populated with some data. Table to site is similar to sheet to site, but we use Airtable as a base. If anyone in there is familiar with Airtable, maybe not if you are new, but basically it's like Airtable on steroids with lots of nice functionality, and you can get lots of nice automations and stuff. Webflow is probably one of our favorite tools among Makerpad and the Makerpad community. I know Glenn, who's in the chat right now, has a development agency focused on Webflow, so he's your go-to man for this. The actual Makerpad site is entirely built with Webflow. The good thing about Webflow is that it has really advanced features for designers, so designers love it, but also has a CMS attached to it. So rather than say storing your data somewhere else, you can actually dynamically create pages depending on the items in your CMS. So let's say you wanted to have a directory site. You don't have to create a page for each single listing. You just add them into the CMS site, into the CMS, create a template, and each page will be generated dynamically. There's also a bunch of powerful features with Webflow. We're not going to do too much of a deep dive right now. If you've got any questions, fire them to Glenn. Bubble is a really good way to build actually web applications. So not just websites, you can build full scale web apps with Bubble. And I'd say it's probably the most powerful web app builder around. It has a bit of a steeper learning curve than some of the other tools, but you can build Airbnb clones, you can build Uber, most stuff that you want to build, you'd be able to build in Bubble. So if you want to go through that initial learning phase, you can build whatever you want with Bubble. It is a little bit tricky to start with. So maybe if you have never built something without code before, then maybe better alternatives if you want to kind of easy road in. But yeah, highly recommend Bubble. It's an awesome tool and I've seen some great things built with it. Universe is a website builder, but you can completely build a website from your phone. So whereas all these kind of work from your desktop and your browser, Universe, you can do this completely from your phone. Let me just see if I can bring it up quickly. I don't want to visit too many sites because I might kill the connection and I want to get through as many as possible. But yeah, Universe you can download on your phone and you can build websites. It has like a really easy canvas builder. You can build everything in blocks. You can do videos, photo galleries, show your music, etc. It's awesome. Give that a try. Okay, and then let's go over to some other ones. What should we choose next? Let's just stick on here. So Boundless, we mentioned Bubble before. So if you're looking to build like a web app, maybe it's like a directory app or a anything that requires like a database, basically. Boundless is a really good option. I'd say slightly more user friendly than Bubble, but less powerful in terms of things like plugins and functionality. But if you would say you wanted to build your first web app and you're looking to build something like a job board, Boundless could be a really good option for you. MemberStack is a product which allows you to turn any simple website. So let's say you've got a website in Card or Webflow. MemberStack actually allows you to turn that into a membership site. So if you wanted to add, say, like a paywall to some of your content and maybe replicate something like Substack, or you wanted to make it so people could subscribe to your content and take payments through Stripe, then MemberStack would be the thing you use. We actually use MemberStack to build the payment functionality and membership functionality to a Makerpad. So this is really good. It will integrate with any of the sites that you're hosting your site on: HubSpot, Wix, Webflow, HTML, WordPress. Yeah, and it basically adds this membership layer, which adds some cool functionality. So definitely check that one out if you're building anything membership related. Clay, this is going on to the more automation side of things. This is building tools and workflows to supercharge your team. So 2 seconds, let me list it up. This may be slightly more complex in terms of bringing like internal tooling into your organization. So maybe you're working within like a bigger organization and need some like internal tools or workflows or automations building, then Clay is a really good one to use. I haven't actually personally built too much with Clay, although because it's probably suited to companies which are further down the line maybe. But yeah, so you have things like triggers and workflow steps. which allows you to build some really powerful automations there as well. Looking to get some new tutorials done with Clay, so keep an eye out for that. Sorry, I've navigated off the page for some reason. Okay, we're just going to stick on automations for a moment. Obviously, one of the most popular, if not the most popular, no-code classified tool is Zapier. Hopefully, a few of you may be familiar with Zapier. Is anyone not familiar with Zapier in the chat? Any heard of it? Anybody else use Zapier? Not use Zapier? Familiar? Heard of it? Not used that much. Familiar? Looked at it. Heard of it? Okay, so the good thing, handy for automations, there are also alternatives. It seems like a better version of this and that. Yeah, if this, then that is kind of a sort of good comparison just to get your head around how it works. So if something happens, do something else. So Zapier is one of the best automation tools available. It will basically connect two applications together that don't usually talk to each other. So a good example would be if you had an inbound email which contained an attachment, and rather than you having to manually save that attachment and upload it to Dropbox to share with the rest of the team, you could set up what's called a Zap to connect the apps together. So whenever you get a new email, if that contains an attachment, take the attachment, upload it to Dropbox, and then maybe send a notification to your team in Slack or however you guys communicate. There's over 1,500 apps that you can connect together. And here on the screen is how it works. So if you're looking to just start off in automation, rather than building something like websites or mobile apps, Zapier is a good place to start. How would you say it compares to Integromat? So yeah, this is probably a slightly more like advanced question for those more familiar with automation, but Zapier is, I would say, it goes really wide in terms of how many apps that you can connect. So if you want to connect two apps together, it's more likely that these apps are going to be available on Zapier. You can connect to 1,500 apps, but where I think Integromat does better is, let's just Integromat. This is sort of similar. I'm logged in right now, so you can't see. Integromat does effectively the same thing. This is called the glue of the internet. But yeah, similar sort of process, different sort of visual layout. So it's more visual step by step, but achieves the same thing in terms of automation. But I'd say they have less connections, but for the connections they do have, those connections go deeper. So you can do more with each connection rather than quite a shallow level on Zapier, if that makes sense. Does that answer your question a little bit, Edmund? Hopefully. But yeah, I think, yeah, it is, and it is cheaper, exactly. But both extremely powerful. I think it comes down to personal preference and also what you're trying to do with it. So there is certain applications that one works better with and the other doesn't, but we're going to go kind of more in depth with tutorials and things like that another time. Maybe we'll do like an automation specific workshop, but yeah, they're both great. So there was another question in here somewhere. Bear with me. Questions for promotes. Yeah, Richard, I'll get back to your question towards the end, okay? But I have seen it. Okay, Retool. Retool is another sort of like automation type tool, but this is again similar to Clay. Really good for like internal tooling. So if you have multiple different databases with data in different places, maybe you've got some SQL databases combined with some Google Sheet data, and you are slightly more technical, I'd say this is a really good solution. It's good for things like internal dashboards, CMSs, things like that. So I'd say probably not a beginner level tool, but if you are slightly technical and you have some stuff that you need to build for an internal team, then this could be good for you. Standard library is, I'd say, similar technical ability needed to something like Retool. So maybe not exactly for beginners, but again, extremely powerful. Maybe build as more of a low code solution rather than a completely no code solution. So that does actually require some technical know-how and query know-how, but again, very, very powerful. And if you're looking to build stuff for a business or like maybe a bigger business that requires connecting some unique KPIs together and things like that, and connecting some quite intricate workflows, and standard library is very good. Landbot. So if there's anyone familiar with chatbots that you've seen popping up all over the place over the last couple of years, Landbot does, yeah, exactly like ManyChat. You're right. Whereas ManyChat was built for Facebook mainly, Landbot does a really good job of bringing like chatbot functionality, but you can either have it on your website, like the familiar pop-up on the bottom right of your screen, or you could have it as like a full page sort of customer segmenting or customer feedback bot. You could get it to pop up on the side of your screen on the bottom right. How does it compare with Drift? Just different functionality, I think. Landbot was more going for like landing page type feel, so you can have like a Landbot appear as like the full page of your screen and then take a customer through a journey. Depends if you wanted to like segment your sign up or segment your traffic, but it's really good with integrations. So you can do a ton of integrations with Landbot as well, and also custom integrations through any API work. So again, there is 2 levels to it. You can actually go in and build a really, really effective bot with 0 technical knowledge. But if you do have some technical knowledge, then you can amp that up and make that really powerful as well. Connects really nicely into third-party solutions as well, and sends stuff straight into CRMs or wherever you want to put it. But yeah, very, very easy to use. Documate is something, if you do things like invoicing or quotes, or if you're building the same sort of document, I want to say documents, I want to try and get away from using documents too much, but basically creating automation workflows around documents. So let's say you send multiple invoices per week, or you send like hundreds of quotes out and it takes you say 10, 20, 30 minutes each time, then something like Documate is going to be really good, because you can create a document, and then you can automate the workflow. So set your questions, you can send them out automatically. And the good thing is with Documate, you could tie this into something like Zapier. Whereas if you had like a team member and they sent you a certain type of email which said, could you send so-and-so a quote, you could have that trigger a workflow which automatically sent out a Documate form for the client to fill in. Oh, and whoever mentioned Drift, Documate have a Drift bot in the bottom right-hand corner there. But yeah, Documate is really, really useful if you're creating similar sort of forms all the time. We need things to be signed. You can automate that all through Documate. Next one is Parabola. So being from England, I'd say Parabola, but I was told by our American friends that is very wrong. Parabola is the best way to work, in my opinion, with data. So if you've done any data work as a no-coder, it used to be traditionally just within like Google Sheets, for instance, and it was just a pain, and you'd be able to get some data, and if you can only do stuff if you knew how to write formulas within Google Sheets. So one thing that Parabola is really good at is you can bring in data from anywhere, and then you could format that data however you want and get it into a style that you need, and then output that to the place that you need it. So for example, if you had some data in, just have a think. Let me just bring up an example. If you had data in like a Google Sheet, which was in a horrible format, and you wanted to actually produce, say, a report with it, you could put in the data through a Google Sheet, streamline and clean that up in a really visual and nice way, and then send that out in terms of like a report or something. So let me just show you a recipe, which gives you a good example. 2 seconds. Okay, so here's a good example. Quickly clean and deduplicate email lists. So the reason why Parabola is good is because this was something that was reserved for more technical people, and if you didn't have any technical knowledge, it was kind of your job to stay away from data. But if you can see here, this is how a flow works within Parabola. You can pull in 3 different Google Sheets, and you can concatenate that, rename, dedupe, again, rename, join, and then output into a better format. So if you're looking to do anything with data, you can do that with Parabola, and you can schedule things like data cleaning or email list cleaning, updating everything within, say, like Webflow. Parabola is going to be your new best friend. So definitely dive in and check that one out. Dash. Is there any spreadsheet? Anyone in the chat who lives in spreadsheets? Part-time? Okay, that's enough. Okay, awesome. Okay, Chris, I think you'll like this one. I've recorded them in 30 minutes. Awesome. Okay. So Dash is really good. They recently became yeah, you want to live there all the time, but Dash is a really good tool. And for some, it's going to be extremely powerful, but for some, if you're not familiar with any working Google Sheets, or it's just not involved in any of your jobs, then you may never come across it. But for those who do, Dash is really powerful, because what you can do, you can combine traditional spreadsheet functionality with the ability to call in information and utilize APIs directly in the spreadsheet. So you can write if you're writing a formula, you can add in some API functionality as well. So in this example on the screen, you'll be able to find and enrich your contacts from LinkedIn directly in Dash. So if you see the get email thing here, you can actually make these interactions directly in a spreadsheet without having to add any custom application work in there. So yeah, really powerful stuff. Definitely go through an onboarding call like Chris has done. They can show you some really good use cases, and definitely recommend that if you're a spreadsheet fan. Okay, so things like Notion, Action Desk, all really good. ConvertKit for email, Coda, Salesforce, Shortcuts lives on your phone. Phantom Buster is good for any social API work. So if you want to pull down Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, anything like that, use Phantom Buster. Integromat is also very good in terms of automation. And what have we got here? So ShareTribe. Is anyone looking to try and build a marketplace? I know marketplaces are one of the popular use cases that we get sometimes. Okay, 2, 3. Okay, thought so. That was a good guess. Cool. So yes. Okay, 4. Nice. 5. Okay, they'll be happy with this, I think. So ShareTribe is going to be your new best friend. They've created all of the functionality that you need to start and launch a marketplace. Like, you could probably launch one in less than half an hour if you wanted to. Give you all the functionality you need to actually have to sell your own items, or to have other people sell their items, and handle all the payments and all the transactions, all the listing and the reviews. you don't have to build this from scratch. So they provide all that for you, which is great. They have a lot of cool functionality coming out very soon also, a lot of more like customization options. And there is, if you want to see a good example of a Share Tribe marketplace, then Mike, who started Studio Time, he is a Makerpad friend. They built this Studio Time, where you can actually rent a music studio or a recording studio. And this entire site is built using ShareTribe and without any code at all. So this is getting really popular. Again, if you want to build anything similar to Airbnb in whatever niche, name one, this is going to be one for you. Just a quick question from Ben. Does ShareTribe provide tools to create a membership-based marketplace using credits as payments and balances into ClassPass? I'm not sure about credits as payments and balances, actually. I have to ask a question. But if, yeah, something like ClassPass, I think you can do ClassPass within Studio Time. I don't know the specifics of how the credits would work, but I seem to think that their payment functionality and product offering functionality is really, really well done, and it's really flexible. So my guess would be yes, but I'd check with them. They've got a really good support team also. So any questions would fire through to ShareTribe, and they're great. They'll be also doing some workshops some live stream workshops for Makerpad soon as well. So if you are signed up, you get a notification of that. But yeah, ShareTribe is awesome. And if you're looking to build a marketplace, definitely check that out. Okay, MemberSpace. Again, another really good tool to turn your website or product into a membership site, similar to MemberStack, but they both offer slightly different functionalities in terms of like implementation and the features. So if you're looking to create a membership site, definitely check out both of them and just see which one suits you best. They're both really, really good. Anybody looking to build a membership site just out of interest? I'm just going to check if there's any more questions. Okay. Okay, yes, membership site. Yeah, okay, cool. Part for a site interested login site to build a booking system. Yeah, okay. Adrian, if you depends on what you're trying to book. If it's full on marketplace, go with ShareTribe. If it's just some minor membership functionality where you want to gate some content, then yep, try MemberStack and MemberSpace. That'd be perfect for that. Could you please comment on tools used to build and manage Makerpad? The site is tutorials, sign up as payments. Okay. Okay, yeah, do you want to get to your questions? Cool. Ethan, so Makerpad is entirely built on Webflow, Airtable, Zapier, and MemberStack. For things like tutorial creation, we just use ScreenFlow, and then we use an editor, and then we upload them to a YouTube channel and then post them onto our site. There's also some other more niche products which are enabling our website to do powerful things like filtering. So if you wanted to add, say, multi-filtering to your site, then you'll need to add something like a third-party tool, which is called JetBoost. Just give them a shout out, because there's some functionality which isn't native to Webflow, which you have to augment with something like Zapier or things like JetBoost, or again, MemberStack or MemberSpace also. Can't run to business for home alarm systems. Yeah, it actually wasn't. I can't take any credit for the member Makerpad site at all. That is all Ben. So shout out to Ben, who does a great job. But yeah, entire Makerpad product, everything is built without code. So Idalo is probably actually a really good starting point for everybody if you want to build a mobile app a web app, or one of each. So Adalo makes it really easy. So if you're a beginner and you're looking to just build your first mobile app, you've got two options. In my opinion, you've got Adalo, which is great, and also you've got Glide. So we'll get to Glide in a minute. But Adalo is brilliant. It's very intuitive in terms of adding components, and they have some great. Someone made a Patreon clone with Adalo. Is there a better tool for such web apps? Yeah, that was actually me who made the Patreon clone in Adalo. So if you wanted to remake something like Patreon, you could build it. I think it took me 4 hours to build Patreon in Adalo. So you could build mobile apps or web apps. Also, a good thing with Adalo is you can build one mobile app for users, and then you can build an admin panel as a web app, but they can also share the same database with Adalo. So that's something which is pretty cool. They've got some good templates as well in Adalo, so make sure you check those out. Yeah, you can build really nice mobile apps without code with them. Okay, we can use Bubble instead of Webflow up here. Yeah, absolutely. You can build, if you entirely wanted to build in Bubble, you can. There's just like I said, like a bit of a steeper learning curve if you're a beginner. But yeah, Bubble's really powerful. There is over 400,000, I think, close to 400,000 Bubble people in the Bubble community, and the forums are very good and supportive. So definitely check them out. I wouldn't pretend to choose Bubble for mobile apps. No, I'd say there's better solutions. Standard library we covered. Sizzy. 2 seconds, let me just bring it up. Okay, so this is a like a browser made for responsive design. So this is like a quite a cool design tool. So if you are looking to build out any designs which you want to make nice, then this is just like a good one to try, which actually gives you the code on the left-hand side as well. So good for dev tools and specs. So yeah, slightly more like no code E and slightly more technical, but for the designers among you, might be cool. MailerLite is a really good emailing solution if you wanted to get away from something like MailChimp. It is as good as it is light. It's quite lightweight. You can make nice emails. Again, got some really good automation integrations with it. I know some people start with something like MailChimp, and then as they grow their list a bit, they look for different solutions. Also, we have MailChimp and ConvertKit for that as well. Again, these things are slightly more perfect personal preference. And then like right now, in fact, has some decent built-in features like surveys too. Okay, cool. That's cool. I don't actually know that. Cool. And another tool which is slightly more niche actually, called obviously.ai. These are a new Makerpad customer, and one of the tools actually pretty excited about at the moment. It lets you do sort of like machine learning and predictions and analytics, but powered by natural language. So it's pretty much no code machine learning. So if you've got some data that you want to do any prediction modelings on, usually it'd be reserved for things like data science team. You could now do this with obviously.ai. So you add in your data, and then you can ask it questions in natural language, like which shops like to spend the highest on Friday. Or like a good example that we actually went through is, let's say you're a SaaS business and you have lots of customers joining and churning, or like joining for a week and then logging off or unsubscribing. You could actually just put all this data into obviously.ai and then ask it some questions, but within natural language. So you don't actually need to be in data science to actually get some good analytics and use machine learning in your apps. So this is their brand new Makerpad customer. We've got some cool upcoming tutorials with them, which should be going live on Makerpad in the next couple of weeks. And also we'll have them running a spotlight, which is like an online live stream like this, but they'll be running all of our Makerpad Pro customers through how to use, obviously. And I think actually they're opening up their beta to everybody this week. So yeah, coming soon. Yeah, really excited about, obviously. Again, this was something similar to Parabola, whereas data was always something that was reserved for the more technical people. Again, machine learning is definitely reserved to people who are more technical. Now you can do it without code, which is cool. Can we talk more about Airtable? Yes, certainly we can. Have I missed it here? Yeah, just at the top here. So Airtable, yeah, let's open up Airtable. So if, like me, you're not a Google Sheets fan, Airtable will probably be your new best friend. I know we have a lot of Airtable fans potentially in here. But yeah, what Airtable is, it's a visually appealing, very powerful spreadsheet comes CRM / database. Yeah, so part spreadsheet, part database, entirely flexible. Pretty much if you have any data and you have multiple people working on it, and also you want to shape that in a way that's actually useful, you are likely to be able to do it within Airtable. So it doesn't just give you a sheet view. You can actually have a grid view, calendar view, Kanban view, a gallery view, and then a form. And the good thing is about Airtable, let's say you had a site and you wanted to actually store the results of a form within Airtable, you could actually create a form attached directly to that Airtable. They call it a base, but it's the equivalent to a Google Sheet. But you can actually create a form which has the necessary formats and type of fields, and then you can share that link. So as soon as someone signs up in the form, it just goes directly in Airtable. Also, it plays really nicely with automations as well. So you can tie it into Zapier again and Integromat, and then trigger loads of automations off there as well, which is slightly more difficult to do with Google Sheets, but you can do it. But yeah, Airtable does a really good job. And also, it has a bunch of pre-built templates, which are really useful. So if you can obviously go in and create all your stuff from scratch, but if you wanted to dive in and pull out like a content calendar or a project tracker or a user research sheet or basically anything you want to do, maybe like a personal CRM, or anything for your local business, then Airtable's got a template for it. I know they work really, really hard on producing templates for every use case. So if you just did want to get something tailored to you, then it's probably there. I hope that. Is there any other specific Airtable related questions, Michael, that you wanted to know? Can we compare Airtable with Notion? Yeah, so I think at the moment, Airtable is a lot more robust than Notion. They kind of serve different use cases. So, for instance, at the moment, until Notion released their API, you can't actually put data into or get it back out of Notion in any other way than just typing it or entering it in yourself. Notion's great. We use Notion for all our internal docs and all our to-dos and workflows and everything. But we use Airtable to store all of our, say, Makerpad membership data, all our subscription information, all of our some of our content and things like that. Everything that powers our website lives in Airtable. Whereas in Notion, because there's no API, you have to enter everything manually and then you can't attach it to anything. But that is going to change soon as they're coming out with their API. So maybe there will be a comparison there, but two slightly different products. I think if you're going to compare it to anything, it would be comparable to something like Evernote, perhaps. Yeah, absolutely. Probably a Trello replacement. Yeah. Considering what you might sacrifice earlier on cost save, what's the card-like alternative to Airtable? Good question. I'm not sure what the card-like alternative to Airtable was. To be honest, if I think of a good answer, I'll come back to you. But I think Airtable is the one, pretty much. Okay, I'm just trying to think. Is there anything else we missed? So let's go for operations. Any more specific questions on any tools that we've skipped over you want to know a bit more of? Oh, actually, we've missed Gumroad. So Gumroad's really good if you just want to create a really simple way to sell your product. Gumroad is great. Let's say you can sell physical products, digital products. Gumroad is really lightweight, low fees. Like it a lot. Anyone selling products? Maybe Typeform, Tom? Yeah, okay. So the tools, what are your favorite go-tos? Okay, yeah, good question. I'm not sure, actually, it's a good question. I'm not sure if Gumroad can act as a marketplace or not. Good question. I'll have to find out and answer that afterwards. I know it's really good for individual creators. Okay, let me just have a look. So Typeform, who mentioned Typeform? The Glide versus Webflow. Oh, let me just have a look. So I did actually miss Glide. Bear with. Glide is, I would probably go as far as to say Glide is the easiest way to create a mobile app if you're starting out. So Glide is to mobile apps what Card is to websites. And the reason why Glide is really good is because you can build a mobile app in, I don't know, a couple of minutes if your data lives in a Google Sheet. So you could have a Google Sheet with a ton of data, and all you have to do is when you create a new app within Glide, the first thing you do is connect your Google Sheet, and then you instantly can map across those fields and have a mobile app on your phone in less than a couple of minutes. So Glide, probably one of the most recommended tools, I think, just because really easy to pick up. You can create really simple apps for really unique niche use cases like individual events in no time, with extremely low cost. And everyone knows how to use a Google Sheet, so that means everyone can build a mobile app, which is great. Right. Typeform, Glide versus Webflow. So Glide is made for just purely mobile apps. Webflow is for websites. Typeform is a great tool made for like interactive step-by-step forms. You can do things like logic-based answers, etc. Also take payments, which is really good. Outside of all the tools and what they do, what are your favorite / go-tos? My favorite go-tos, I use Adalo a lot. I use Integromat a lot. I use Zapier all the time. I use Parabola a lot. I'm playing around with obviously.ai at the moment. Webflow is staple. Airtable used for everything. Notion use a ton every day. So they're probably the main ones. And I obviously get lucky as I get the chance to play around with most of them and all the new ones that come out. I know Dash is really cool if you're looking to do any sort of data grabs and enriching. That's great. 2 seconds, just getting back to the questions. Outside of the tools, I've used it was a marketplace. Yeah, I think Gumroad is a marketplace in itself, rather than enabling you to create a marketplace more for individuals. Right, so what do you think is missing here? Is it functionality do you find missing from Airtable or Adalo? I would, like a few months back, I would have said that anything to do with advanced like data work was missing previously, but now that things like Parabola have come out, and that kind of filled a big hole, and obviously the AI coming out, filling that AI and machine learning hole. So I don't think there is much missing at the moment, but new apps will be coming out all the time. So there might be something that pops up, which means that there's a big hole. Obviously, there is limitations to everything. So you just want to find out which products is going to work best for your use case, find out what the limitations are, and then figure out what you need to fill the gaps. Gumroad is more a marketplace. Yeah, the idea of knowing what can't be done can help steer decisions. Yeah, that's right. Find some using use someone audio content. Oh, okay. So audio content, there was actually a really good tool called podcast.co that came out recently. They are actually coming in Manchester, so just down the road from me. This kind of took on where Anchor left off. So podcast.co are doing a really good job of giving you everything you need to produce a podcast. But for things like recording and everything, there's things like Audacity. I'm not like a big podcaster. I record interviews live in video form and then strip out the audio. But yeah, podcast.co is a great place to start for that, definitely. They've got like, I think they actually released like a 143-page guide on how to start a podcast. So that was really worth looking at. Let me just, any more question? Let me just dive into this. Glide is actually most used by students. Yeah, Glide is actually being used a lot by students as like a really good entry point. And that's so easy. Is it possible to build native mobile apps with Glide, or is it web apps on mobile? Yeah, it is web views on mobile at the moment with Glide. Sure, that's coming soon. You can use Adalo for that, for native mobile apps. You can publish to the App Store and the Google Play Store. And you can put here with Webflow's non-intuitive interface. So different apps are intuitive for different people. It just depends how you like working. Obviously, some are generally more or less intuitive. If you're a designer, for instance, then Webflow is really good. But Webflow is great because it has Webflow University. They have some great tutorials and learning materials. So you can actually pick up and fill any knowledge gaps really quickly with Webflow. The actual quality of content and the community is great. Also, if you reach out to any of the support team directly at Webflow or on Twitter, they'll get back to you straight away. Okay, let me just have a look at any more questions in the chat. Okay. So Richard asks, for later, Adalo promotes that you can have two different front end for the same back end. It seems Bubble will first of all, Bubble will allow this. Okay, I haven't actually built too much with Bubble, so I don't know how easy it is to tie two together, but I know that you can create loads of different permissions and do lots of more advanced stuff within Bubble. So I'm going to say yes, you should be able to do that. Adalo, it makes it really easy to do that. So you can do that where you can have like an admin panel for your admins, and then you can have like a user-facing app. So you can control your data flow as like an admin, and then you can have your users use a mobile app, but then share the same database with Adalo. You can also bring in third-party data using the API connector in Adalo as well, but it's slightly more advanced. Adrian, we're building a web in Webflow, multi-facility booking reservation system. Okay, create an API. Okay, maybe ShareTribe would work well for you, Adrian. You could tie a marketing site to a ShareTribe backend and have a marketplace there, and then you can handle your bookings requests with that side. Don't know if that answers your question. This is the answer. I need to create an API where we could have all the kits. Yeah, I'd go for ShareTribe, Adrian. Give that a shot, and that might work quite well for you. Yeah, you mentioned just showing the slide. No code API could work quite well. I've had a look at that recently, and then yeah, database for Airtable. I think you can make something work with that. When I make a web app, how do I how do I know what to use? Webflow, Zapier, Airtable, or Bubble? Yeah, sorry, I think you answered this in the other chat. Sorry. It just comes down to personal preference. I think diving into a lot of different tools and just figuring out like what works for you, what's the most intuitive, and how quickly can you build everything? Do you get frustrated? Don't worry if you get frustrated with one app. You can just try another one, dive into the learning materials, see what's easier, and just try it out. The good thing is most of these tools have got free tiers, so you're not going to incur any cost within trying them out. Something with like ShareTribe, they're really generous with a trial period, so you could build out your marketplace entirely within the free period, and then pay once it's done. Google Sheet with some 200 data rows. Use or enter unique key. Which one would be selected? Okay, yeah, you could use. I'm not sure actually what you're trying to do, Anand, but yeah, I'd go for. You can use Google Sheet, or you could use Airtable with a Zap connected to a site, maybe a good one. So you can actually take the query through a form on a website, and then query Airtable with Zapier to bring back the result. Cool. Just join back into the chat. Just join questions, Zoom up to how do you dive into Makerpad tutorials and just begin. It's a great question. This is something we're actually working on right now. We're working on a getting started section of Makerpad. We're going to just present some base level tutorials with some easy to use tools and just to get people feeling in the right direction of no code. So this is in the works right now and will be up ASAP. So this a couple weeks ago. Yeah, there's some really good Webflow related courses, Adrian. Richard, thanks for the insight. Learning more results. 5 should have an intro. I'm not sure on actually some good bubble tutorials, but Michael, if you send me a message at tom@makerpad.co or Twitter or inside the member Makerpad Slack, if you remember, I will get some good stuff for you because I could probably use that as well. Web app with an admin panel user dashboard. Yes, I go with a Dalo to start with. If you're new to it, definitely try that out. No code group chat. Okay, there's something coming out soon actually, Richard, called member chat. We're actually talking to them, so I will post some info about that soon. But yeah, chat's a really good one that I don't think has been solved too well with no code yet. I know you can do it in Adalo, but it's kind of a messaging feature rather than like a native chat. But yeah, hopefully that gives you a breakdown of some of the tools. I don't want to go on for too long. We're at 55 minutes, so I don't want to keep you forever as there are hundreds and hundreds of tools. But the best thing to do if you're looking forward to looking to just get into no code is figure out what you want to do. Is it a website? Is it a mobile app? Is it like an internal automation flow? Is it just a chatbot? Is it like an email solution? You can dive into our marketplace. I would always recommend joining it with Makerpad Pro. We have a community inside of Slack of hundreds of people building their own projects and automating things. So if you have any questions, you can ask it in there. And again, if you want more of an insight into Makerpad and everything that we offer, then on Thursday, I'll be doing another live workshop similar to this, but we'll be looking at everything that's involved with Makerpad. So behind the scenes, what our Slack group looks like, all of our pro tutorials, our offerings for individuals, for startups, for businesses, for funds, future boot camps, spotlight talks and demonstrations from all of the tools that you see today are coming soon. We'll be launching a podcast very soon as well and some other unique content. So this was a quick run through. Sorry if I didn't spend as much time on the tool that you wanted me to spend time on, but just had to whiz through a few. Didn't want to keep you for more than an hour. So thank you if you've been here for the whole hour. Thanks you for if you spent any time here. So this replay will also be available like all the other boot camps to rewatch for Makerpad Pro members. And we also have things like monthly pricing, which is available now. So if you want to try out anything, make sure you either ask me directly or join out with Makerpad. Great to see you in there. If not, then come along on Thursday, the same time, 4 p.m. I will post this on Twitter. Again, stop in. It'll be me hosting it. Ben will be on, and we're just going to run through exactly what Makerpad is and if it is going to be useful for you. So that's it. If there's no other questions, I will let you all go and enjoy the rest of your day. See you later. Bye.